Hello dear learners, I am Professor M. Masoom Raza from Department of Library Information Science, AMU Aligarh. So in the previous lecture, I told you about the project management and I told you what the project management is basically doing and uh, the Pert and CPM that I told you, these are the two important techniques which are part of this project management. So I briefly gave you the account what the project management is, and then that was just an overview, and then I told you about the SWOT analysis. And now in this lecture we will focus on PERT and CPM. So what is this critical path method and what is program evaluation review technique? So we will just try to understand in detail these two procedures of project management. So when I say PERT, initially I told you the PERT is program evaluation and review technique, and it serves as a practical tool that emphasizes the necessary preparation, work before an event, and facilitates monitoring of task completion schedules. Initially developed by US Navy's special project, PERT finds extensive applicability in various industries, including library operations. The PERT method entails several key steps, beginning with the identification of all essential activities within a project. Subsequently, these activities are sequenced and arranged in a flow diagram to establish their order of execution. Duration estimates are then assigned to each phase of the work to be undertaken. This technique relies on enumerating events whose completion can be quantified, followed by the calculation of most likely times required for achieving each event. By doing so, stakeholders can gain insights into the anticipated duration for the completion of event progressions. So PERT's network-based model building approach proves particularly effective for managing major projects characterized as one-time events. Its structured methodology aids in streamlining project management processes, enhancing efficiency, and ensuring timely completion of tasks. Then estimates of PERT. So what actually technique is employed in the estimation? Basically, three types of time estimates for each activities here that you can see: optimistic time O, most likely time, that is M, and this is pessimistic time P, and expected time is E. So let me tell you what are these. So optimistic time O, this represents the shortest amount of time that a task could theoretically be completed in, assuming everything goes exceptionally well without any delays or obstacles. That is optimistic time represented as O. Next, you can see the most likely time represented as M. This is an educated estimate of time required to complete a task under normal conditions, considering typical resources, skills, and circumstances. Third is pessimistic time, P. This indicates the longest amount of time that a task might take to complete, considering significant delays, unexpected challenges, and adverse conditions. So that is pessimistic. This is just reverse of optimistic. And the last, you can see the expected time, that is represented as E. This is a weighted average estimate of the time required to complete a task, taking into account both the optimistic and pessimistic scenarios, and is calculated using the formula E, means expected time is equal to O, that is optimistic time, plus 4m, 4 multiplied by most likely time, plus P, that is pessimistic time, divided by 6. So when you know all this stands for what it stands for, with this formula you will be able to calculate the expected time. So this is how the estimate for Pert is calculated. Then coming to the elements of Pert, so especially in Pert, these three elements you can see here: events, activities, and non-activities. These three elements play a fundamental role in constructing network diagram to aid project management. Just see what event is. Event marks significant points in the project timeline, such as the start or completion of activities. Events signify specific milestones or achievements within the project. Number 2, activities. Activities denote the task or actions required to achieve project objectives. These arrows indicate the sequence in which activities should be performed and the dependencies between them. And the third element is non-activities. Non-activities indicate logical relationships or dependencies between events or activities. These non-activities may represent waiting period, resource constraints, and other factors affecting the project's flow. Now we will see the advantages of Pert. So the Pert has got these major 5 advantages. You can see it is effective planning, visual representation, identifying critical path, and then resource optimization, and the last is risk management. So the effective planning, Pert facilitates organized and scheduled project activities, leading to more structured approach to project management. Visual representation, utilizing network diagrams, Pert provides a visual representation of project tasks and their dependencies, aiding comprehension and communication of the project plan. Third, you can see identifying critical path. Pert enables the identification of the critical path, directing attention and resources towards the task crucial for project duration. And next is the resource optimization. Through analysis of the critical path and slack times, Pert optimizes resource allocation and utilization, ensuring efficiency. And the last, the risk management. Pert assesses project risk via optimistic and pessimistic time estimates, aiding in identifying and mitigating potential risk. And then definitely, if we have some advantage, we will have some disadvantage as well. So what is the disadvantage of the Pert? You can see here complexity, time consuming, and assumption based, and limited flexibility. These are some of the disadvantages. So basically, when I say this whole Pert process it can be complex to implement and maintain, especially for the large and complex projects, requiring significant time and effort for planning and updating. And it is time consuming also. The process of estimating activity times, creating network diagrams, and analyzing critical paths can be time consuming, especially in the initial stages of project planning. And the next, it is assumption based, because the Pert relies on the assumptions and estimates for activity durations, which may not always be accurate, leading to potential deviations from the planned schedule. Then it has limited flexibility, as Pert may lack flexibility in accommodating changes or unexpected events during the project execution phase. as it is based on a predetermined project plan. And another disadvantage can be cost. Means implementing Pert may require investment in a specialized software, training and resources, making it costly for some organizations to adopt. Then coming to CPM, this is another tool which comes under the project management, and later on we'll see how this PERT is different from CPM, but let's understand what CPM is. CPM is critical path method, and this is also a systematic approach to project management that involves precise planning and scheduling to achieve an optimal time cost balance, ensuring timely project completion with minimal resource usage. Ultimately, the emphasis is with the minimum resources, how we can optimize our output. So, when I talk about the resources, it includes the cost, it includes the infrastructure cost, it includes the labor cost, it includes all sorts of cost, and mitigating all risk, and one has to achieve the optimum output. If you can do that using any of these techniques, that is better for any organization. This is what we are aiming at. So, basically, this is known as critical path method. It was developed by DuPont and Remington Rand in 1950s. This CPM, that's critical path method, was designed to enhance project scheduling techniques and is based on the network principle similar to PERT. So the primary goal of CPM is to identify the critical path, which is the longest sequence of dependent activities that determines the minimum time needed to complete the project. By focusing on the critical path, project managers can effectively allocate resources and ensure the project stays on schedule. Coming to the features, what are the features of CPM? So you can see network representation, task breakdown, activity relationships, network planning. These are some of the important features of the CPM. So just like PERT, CPM represents events using circles and activities using arrows in a network diagram. Events signify significant points in the project timeline, while activities denote tasks that need to be performed. Then task breakdown. The entire project is divided into smaller components known as tasks, and each task is then analyzed to determine the activities and events associated with it. And then we have activity relationships. Each activity is identified along with its preceding and succeeding activities. Additionally, the time and resources required for each activities are determined. And another feature is network planning. A network diagram is drawn to illustrate the sequence of activities and events. This diagram provides a visual representation of the project structure, dependencies, and critical path. Then similarly, we have certain advantages and disadvantages of this technique also. So first we will focus on the advantages that you can see. A graphical representation is a big advantage here. CPM provides a visual representation of the project's task, dependencies, and critical path through network diagrams. This graphical view enhances understanding and communication among project stakeholders. Second advantage, you can see the accurate time prediction. So by identifying the critical path, CPM enables project managers to estimate the minimum time required to complete the project. This helps in setting realistic project schedules and deadlines. Third, focus on the critical activities. CPM highlights critical activities that directly influence project completion time. By prioritizing resources and attention to these critical tasks, project managers can ensure timely project delivery. And next advantage, we have optimized resource allocation. With insights into the critical activities and their dependencies, CPM allows for better resource allocation. Project managers can allocate resources efficiently, ensuring that critical tasks are adequately supported. And then we have improved project planning. So CPM facilitates detailed project planning by breaking down the project into smaller tasks and sequencing them logically. This systematic approach enhances overall project planning and management. Then we have certain disadvantages also. The disadvantages, you can see here, the complexity is again a big disadvantage. Then assumption of fixed task durations, resource constraints, sensitivity to changes, and then limited flexibility is always a disadvantage. So we'll see one by one. So when I say complexity, so basically what I mean here is when you implement CPM, it requires expertise with the project management and familiarity with the methodology. The complexity of CPM may be such that the inexperienced project managers or the team can spoil it also. So that's the first thing. Second, you can see the assumption of fixed task durations. So CPM basically assumes that the task durations are fixed and do not change over time. However, in reality, task durations may vary due to unforeseen circumstances or changes in project scope, leading to inaccuracies in project schedules. Third is sensitivity to changes. So CPM schedules are sensitive to changes in the task durations or dependencies. Any alterations to the project plan may necessitate a reassessment of the entire schedule, leading to potential delays and disruptions. Resource constraints. While CPM identifies critical activities, it does not consider resource constraints or availability. As a result, resource conflicts may arise, impacting the project schedule and completion time. And the last of all, the limited flexibility. The CPM may lack flexibility in accommodating unexpected changes or disruptions during the project execution. Project managers may find it challenging to adjust schedules or reallocate resources dynamically. Just to make you understand what is the difference between the PERT and CPM, because you know that both these techniques fall under project management. So both are trying for the same thing, both are attempting the same thing, just to minimize the operation process and then to optimize the output. With the minimum resources, minimum timeline, try to achieve the maximum. So how they are different with each other? So basically when I have to say, these both are integral to project management, I said. How they are different, they are divergent in several key aspects, how they are different, but originating from the need to manage uncertainty, focuses on handling unpredictable activities and minimizes project completion time. Whereas CPM means critical path method, rooted in managing well-defined tasks, emphasizes a balance between cost and time, often prioritizing cost reduction, evolving to cater to different project types. Pert found its niche in research and development projects, while CPM excels in non-research ventures like construction. Pert's event-oriented approach, employing a probabilistic model and three-time estimates, suits non-repetitive tasks, while CPM activity focused deterministic model with a single time estimate is better suited for repetitive jobs. Notably, critical path method incorporates the concept of crashing to compress projects, duration and cost, a feature absent in Pert. So these distinctions normally, it underscores the versatility of Pert and CPM, offering project managers tailored solution to address a spectrum of project complexities and requirements. At the end of this lecture, at least you will be able to understand what the project management is, what are the components of project management, what are those two techniques, what are the advantages of project management and disadvantages of project management, and then we have seen those two techniques in detail. We have seen Pert and we have seen CPM. We have seen what are the advantages of each of these techniques and what are the disadvantages of each of these techniques. And we have seen what is the basic difference between the Pert and CPM. Hopefully, you might have understood the difference between these two techniques which fall under the project management. Thank you very much.